Hey, what's going on? My name is Coach Lee Hopkins. My pronouns are he, him, his, and you're watching a live stream. I usually start off my podcast like that. And so it's hard for me to even say anything else differently. What's going on? What's going on? Today, we're going to talk about the Social Connection Summit. If you're not registered yet for the Social Connection Summit, you need to meet one of these coaches, one of these speakers here. If you don't even know anything about the Social Connection Summit, I'm going to tell you what it is. It is an extravaganza, 2 days of sales training, of marketing training, but most of all, the things that you need to grow yourself and your business. Most of all, the connections with the people at the summit is what's going to help you grow your business. So I do two summits a year, one for personal connections and one for social connections or one for professional connections. And this one is for the professional connections. It's about getting the training, the skills that you need to maintain your professional life. And also, it's about meeting the kind of people that are going to help you grow in your business. All right, that's what we're talking about here today. And I want to welcome Dr. Dhru B. I like that you shortened it for B. Wasn't B, he'd be busy. He'd be busy. But he's one of our coaches at the summit. He's also one of our speakers. And so, when I first met him, I found that he has a really, really striking way to connect with people. He's really genuine, authentic, and very intelligent. He's very well trained in his coaching. I think you have a couple of certifications, but I don't like to tell people stories. So I'd love for you to tell us a bit about you, who you are, and how you help your clients.
Thanks, Lolly. I appreciate it. Coach Lee has always been a really good resource for me, so I appreciate the opportunity to serve your folks and the people in your network for once. Yeah, no, my name is Dr. Dhru B, and I am a business executive coach, among other things. I like to say I'm the Ikigai Coach for what that means. And for those of you who don't know what that means, that's really one of the primary foundational pillars that I coach my people on, which is really about having a well-rounded life. People in America tend to shift it to be, it's about the intersection between what's profitable, what you're good at, and what you're passionate about. That's a very small part of it. It's not the full picture, and it's kind of a maybe it works out that way, maybe it doesn't. At the end of the day, those concentric circles are infinite around, and really about different aspects of who you are as a human and what interest you have, whatever varied interest you might have. So they might be things that light up your mental side of things, might be things that light up your physical side of things, as you want to work out or play a sport or something like that. And then there's parts of you that really want to be romantic or that want to really just be nerdy or whatever that might look like. Those are all different parts of yourself. And so Ikigai is about honoring every part of yourself to the extent you're able to in any given situation in your life.
So is it something like bringing your authentic self to work or to your job or something like that? Because, you know, constantly you mentioned this, it's about what is profitable. And as an American, profit, profit, profits,
Mm-hmm.
corporations, corporations. So how do I even do that? How can I even bring my authentic self when I'm driving to work so hard to build my business or to grow in my career?
It's a great question, and that comes down to personal branding, right? The idea behind it is really just it's about being authentic, but you don't have to show all of yourself to be authentic. It's just however you show up, you're showing up as you and not as somebody else. So, for example, you're working in a job that says, oh, you're not able to, maybe they're not able to be political at the office. That's totally fine. And just because it's you're not suppressing yourself, you're just being okay. Well, I'm not going to make political statements or talk about politics or things like that, but I can still be me. I have so much more to me than just that. And frankly, if your whole identity is wrapped up in one thing, you probably need to work on yourself a little more and do a
Oh
little
yeah.
more, be more well-rounded, because that's the kind of thing where it's like, okay, well, if I can't express this one part of me, well, then they're suppressing everything about me. That's a problem, and it's a perspective. No one's that one-dimensional. Even fictional characters are not that one-dimensional.
Oh yeah, that's a really great point. I like superheroes, and one of my favorite superheroes is Spider-Man because I
Hmm.
always thought that he had like real problems. He was relatable. You could see different sides of his character. Not everything was good and everything was bad. Unlike some of the other characters out there who just seemed kind of one-dimensional. Batman, um, all good, and all good for justice, and nothing else is happening with them. And so it's really easy to put ourselves in that role and be this one dimensional person who is just, I'm all about my business. I'm all about climbing that corporate ladder.
Hmm.
And you get stuck in those spaces. So you're saying that I can do something else. I can be something else. Help me wrap my head around how that's even possible.
Yeah. So what you're describing is what people think they have to do, right? They think they have to completely conform and then ignore 80% of who they are and focus on the 20% that's going to be profitable for them or to get them more clients or get them that promotion. At the end of the day, what they're doing is just do a service for themselves. And what's going to happen, fast forward, let's say that they're 20 or 21, they're getting this job. 20 years from now, after they've been in that job or that field for X number of years, they're going to get frustrated. Whether they feel it or not, they're going to feel that tension. And that's called a midlife crisis. And my theory in this society is that our society is built to facilitate midlife crises, right? And that's why Ikigai is so important, because that Ikigai is how you fight against midlife crisis. By being well-rounded, by honoring those different parts of yourself, no part of yourself is going to feel like it's denied. No part of yourself is going to be like, hey, remember me? I'm still here. You got to pay attention to me. Because that's what happens at 45, 50 years old. When you've been denying yourself for so long, that itch starts to really, really scratch inside. And you're like, they're trying to fight to get out because it's like, you've been suppressed for so long. And that's why you buy a $200,000 car when you can only drive 35 miles an hour in any given road.
I need to have some fun. I need to have some excitement. I've been working all
Yep.
these years, and for what? I feel suppressed. I don't feel like I have joy in my life, and we have a desperation to go get that. And
Yep.
I like the point that you've made about how our society really creates these midlife crises. We're really focused on just the American dream. I'm picking on America because I'm an American here, and this is my
Yep.
culture and what I know. The American dream: go to school, get a degree, not in something that you like, but one that makes money.
Yep.
Get that family started, get the picket fence, the White House, and the house and the white picket fence with the 2.5 kids. Go do
Yep.
all those things and don't think about yourself. And so understand, as an Ikigai coach, you really help people reconnect with themselves, rediscover themselves, because that midlife crisis that hit, well, the consumerism that happens when you hit that midlife crisis
Yep.
doesn't resolve it. It's just another thing that you do to feel happy that you've tried before and doesn't work. So
Yeah.
how do you help people with that?
So I help them identify really what it is that got them up in the morning, whether it's recently or in the past, if they felt like they've lost that, because that's still there. That part of themselves is still there. Otherwise, they wouldn't feel that tension.
Hmm.
And frankly, no part of we don't really go away. I mean, no part of ourselves really dies. It just gets weaker and weaker over time until it gets so essentially like a wounded animal. It gets feral and starts like clawing its way out because it wants to get out.
Hmm.
I want to do a small distinction in what you said, though. You said society creates midlife crises. It doesn't create them, because I don't want to remove the responsibility from the individual, because we do have control of our destinies. We just
Yeah.
don't choose to exercise that control, right? What happens is society facilitates that. We fall into the trap and let ourselves go on autopilot. And then we end up blaming society. We blame our boss. We blame, whoever else we have to blame. But at the end of the day, we made the choice. Whether we actively made the choice or whether we passively made the choice, we made the choice to end up where we are. And I think that's the part of that's the trap that we tend to fall in as Americans, a lot more so than others. To your point, we're both Americans, so we can speak to the American experience.
Hmm.
But we fall into that trap where it's, oh, I blame society, I blame the capitalist society, I blame the system, I blame this, I blame that. My mom, my parents messed me up.
Yeah.
These are all influences in your life. You're the only one who has control of yourself. Everything else can influence you, but you control how much that influences you, right? And so helping them that's actually one of the biggest realizations my clients have, is that distinction between control and influence. And at the end of the day, the only thing you can ever control is yourself. And the only thing, and then everything else in the world is just influence.
Oh, wow. That's very powerful right there. Some of y'all are not ready to hear that. Some of you are just ready to continue to blame other people. Some of you continue to ready to say that this is the influence. This is not the influence. It's just how things are. I have no control over anything. And when clients come to you in that mindset, I know it's a difficult mindset to break through, but they're ready for a shift. Something is happening. They're ready for that shift. They're ready for that shift. What is the change that you see most often when they realize, like, what do they do differently? How do they see themselves when they realize, like, oh, it's me. I can change this. What do you see happen?
They start taking action. They start
Hmm.
taking more action than they've ever taken in their lives, right? And you start seeing things like, oh, hey, I had to conversation with my boss about that promotion that I never talked to him about for the past 10 years, that I know I was owed it, right?
Yeah.
And guess what? I got it. Oh, who knew? If you asked something, you might get it. Who knew that, right? They have conversations with their spouses, right? They have or significant others, and they talk through stuff that they had been ignoring for a long time. because my old mentor always taught me the path to resentment is paved by the request that was never made, right?
Ooh.
People assume all the time. How many times have you heard, Coach Lee, somebody tell you, oh, well, this person didn't do this thing. Well, did you ask them to do a thing? No, but they should know.
They should know.
They should
Yes.
know.
They should.
How should they know? Who
Obviously,
told them?
mind reading. I mean, I gave him that look.
There you go, right?
I gave
Exactly.
him. I gave him the
But
look.
dude, the funny thing is you're saying it as a joke, but I'm sure you've heard this. People have given that as a real answer. Like, I gave him the look, I gave him the eyes. He knows what I mean when I give him the eyes. Are you sure he knows what you mean? You know what I mean?
I'm laughing because I know I'm guilty of doing that too. I've done it before I realized that I had more power and I could use my words.
We've
Like
all
I
done it,
actually
dude.
had
I mean,
words.
look, I want it too. I've done it too. Before we, and that's the step before the step kind of thing, right? It's the realizing how little we know, right? It's like there's like what you know, there's what you don't know, which is still a very, very small sliver. We've covered maybe 8% of everything out there, and then the other 92% of the, probably higher than that actually, is what you don't know, and that exists in our awareness in general, right? And so part of that, what you don't know, is where your blind spots are, because they're blind spots, and you don't know they're blind spots in a car until there's a reason we have rearview mirrors, right?
Yeah.
Someone made a mistake at some point
Yes.
in time and was like, oh shit, there's actually space here that I can't see, that I'm not aware of. So let's put something there to make sure that that's actually visible now. I don't know if I can curse on this. Sorry about that. But
No, that's fine.
yeah.
Everything's perfect as it is. I mean, you're real and you're raw. So it's important to get real, right?
Yeah,
It's important to
absolutely.
get real and talk about those things the way it is and the expression of ourselves. So I appreciate that. The rearview mirror thing really speaks to me. Just not knowing what you don't know and learning from somebody else's experience. And I think that as a coach, and you as a coach too, investment in coaching helps you, like, it puts that rear view mirror up there for you. It puts
Yep.
those side view mirrors so you can see, you can learn from other people's mistakes so you don't have to get into an accident or crash. Can you speak to the power of what coaching does for others?
Absolutely. I mean, the awareness you get from coaching, if nothing else, the awareness you get alone is worth it, because at least my company is called Nayan Leadership. Nayan has two meanings. There's one meaning that's universal, which is in Hindi, which means eyes. The whole idea is that you can only change something when you're aware of it, right? So if you can't see the problem, you can't fix it. The second meaning is because it's my nephew's name and I named him, and I'm proud of that. So kind of honoring him a little bit. But
Nice.
the first step is always awareness, right? And that goes back to the question you asked earlier. And the power of coaching is at the very least awareness. We bring awareness to our clients about everything and anything, and whether they want that or not, they're going to get it, and then they can choose what they want to do with it, right? They can choose to do nothing with it. They'll be like, you know what, I know the rearview mirrors are there, and I'm going to just stare right ahead. I'm going to ignore them and just switch lanes as much as I want to, right? Many drivers in the DC area subscribe to this philosophy. Right? But end of the day, they're still there. At least we put them up. Now, once they're ready to action that thing, well, now we can talk about it and say, okay, well, how do you want to action this? Where do you want to go from here? And that first part of the awareness part is, you think about like a GPS. People ask, like, what's the first step? What's the universal first step to take? Well, I can't give you a universal first step other than just generally awareness, because if you're going to New York City and you're traveling from Philly, the directions are going to look very different than if you're traveling from LA, right? So the first step is figuring out where the heck are you on the map, and then how do you get where you want to go. Two people could have totally different journeys to get to the same destination, right? And doesn't mean one is better or worse than the other. It just means that they have different journeys and different things to overcome, different lengths of distance to go. And so the first step is awareness. The second step is charting a path to get where they want to go in terms of who they want to be. And it's more so who they want to be, not necessarily what they want to accomplish, because it's about being, not doing. And that's a shift that a lot of people need to make, that some people aren't ready to make as well, right? Speaking of not being ready, but it's understanding what the difference between being something and doing something. Because you can be something without doing something, and you can do a lot of stuff without being anything.
Ooh, that's very quotable. Can you say that one more time?
If I remember what I said, you can be something without doing something, and you can do a lot of things without being anything. I think that's what
right.
I said.
You can do a lot of things without being anything. And that is an awful feeling when you look back on your life. This is the midlife crisis happening. This is the experience that you're having where you're like, oh no, I put a lot of time, effort, and energy into doing all the things that I was told that would make me happy. And I'm not. I'm not. That's the terrible experience, but becoming aware
Hmm.
of it is the first step. The first step. And then that's where you start getting help. That's where you start taking action and making these changes in your life, because everything you've done before didn't get you the result. So now it's time to do something different. And speaking of that, let's talk about the Social Connections Virtual Summit that's happening in September 25th and September 26th. This 2-day virtual summit is going to help you break out of that, help you make more meaningful connections that are going to take your business and your career to the next level, There's going to be all kinds of training for you. And we're talking about health and wellness overall, like you not just doing a thing, but how you want to be in the world. The skills that you need to grow your business, the skills that you need to climb the corporate ladder or to make better relationships within your workplace or with other business owners, you're going to get that here, including um, sales training, as I mentioned before. And sales isn't just for trying to sell a thing to a person, it is for representing yourself clearly and concisely to other people. This is the value that I bring. This is what I can do. And you want to make sure people know that in any kind of setting. You want people to choose you. You want people to know the best of you so they can choose you correctly, right? So we have let me see what's her name up here. Dr. Donna Smith is going to be talking about that. We have Joy Langley, who's going to be talking about emotional intelligence for you. So emotional intelligence. We're going to talk about your gut health too, because it's a whole mind body thing. Your gut is your second brain. Essentially, you want to learn more about how to feel better in all aspects of your life. We also have a marketing strategist. So sales and marketing are two different things,
Hmm.
right? Sales and marketing are completely different. Well, two different things, same vein, two different things. The marketing is getting your word out there. Is you need this for yourself and your business, but also in making connections when you're at work, in your career. How do you build those relationships? And not only that, we have curated breakout sessions for you to meet other entrepreneurs, other business owners, other professionals who are serious about the growth, the wellness that they need to receive to step up to a new level. So I have curated breakout sessions. So if you felt like you're being burnt out, you feel like you're alone, you're not going to be. You're not going to be. You're going to be other professionals. And my mantra is to take actionable steps. I always want you to have actionable steps. So all of the speakers there, all of the coaches are going to give you actionable steps to create meaningful change in your life. This event is for you. If you realize that something has to change, you don't know exactly what it is, come to this event. Also, we are going to be giving VIP members one-on-one coaching sessions. Imagine having a 30-minute coaching session with Dr. Dhru B. Imagine coming to this event, being inspired by the speakers, giving you this information, awareness that you didn't have before, and going into a room with Dr. Dhru B, and being like, okay, I need something. I don't know what it is. And he's going to give you some actionable steps. And if you like what he says, you can follow him off stage. You can get more support from him. So come to this event. It's happening September 25th, September 26th. Scan the QR code up here in the corner. I'll drop it here, right here too. Scan the QR code and check out the tickets. Get your seat. Reserve your seat today before tickets run out. Actually, before early bird tickets run out. That's the word I was looking for. Early bird tickets. Dr. Dhru, I was so excited to talk to you today, and I'm even more excited to hear what you have to say at the summit. I know that we talked a whole lot about things, but I'm really hoping that you're going to share some ways for us to incorporate this Ikigai into our life at the summit. Do you
Yeah,
think we can do that?
absolutely. I mean, that's what I do, right? So, yeah, no, I mean, we'll talk about the principles of Ikigai, what it actually means, and we'll talk about some actionable steps like people can start putting into practice today, wherever they are on the map, to kind of figure out where they are and at least kind of keep moving the needle towards where they want to be. And we'll really get there for them, so that they can actually walk away with some tangible action steps for themselves to be able to say, hey, I'm on the way to where I want to be, and I've identified what that is.
Absolutely. And that's the key. You need to be you need first that awareness, and then we can get you some actionable steps with it. But Dr. Drhu, aside from the Social Connection Summit, I know that you have things going on in your life. I know that you have another event because you're a big thinker and you want to bring people together authentically. I know that there's a retreat or something like that you've been talking about. Share with us, what's that retreat?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Coach Lee. So I'm hosting my own retreat actually in Tokyo, Japan. It is in November, November 6th to 9th. Gotta remember those dates. 8th to 9th. Double checking the dates in a second, but it's in November, first week of November, first week, and it's gonna be amazing. It's a couple days in Tokyo. It's 3 days, and it's gonna be really diving into your Ikigai, understanding who you are as a leader, as a business owner, as a human being. Where are you on the map again, and where do you want to be? But also more specifically, it is a leadership retreat for men specifically. It's focused on resilience and really understanding what does it mean to be a man? What does it mean to actually have emotions and express those emotions in a healthy way while still not giving up your masculinity and also owning your power and achieving without having to the need to achieve. So taking away that need to achieve and need to keep pushing yourself and never respect and appreciate what you've done already, but then adding on the idea of I'm going to have a choice of what I want to achieve and not just be on an autopilot of constantly achieving, because it becomes empty after a while. And people end up feeling basically unfulfilled, frustrated, and they go buy a $200,000 car and can't drive it. So we don't want them doing that. We want to make sure that you spend your money and your time and your energy, more importantly, your time and energy, as effectively as possible. Money, you can always make it more money, but time, you never get that back. So as quickly as possible, we want to get people up and running as the best versions of themselves, or on the way to get to that version of themselves. So that's really what the retreat's about. And we use photography as a metaphor for the mind to teach people how to actually take control back from their mind and take control of situations and change the settings on their mind the same way they do it on a camera. So we'll walk through some photography principles. How do you visualize those kind of things? And even if you don't have a camera, don't worry about it. We use phones if we need to, but if you have a camera, it just makes it a little bit easier, and you'll get some cool photos out of it as well. And yeah, for our VIP, I guess, our early bird special, we're doing free headshots as well as a free JR pass when you go there and you sign up by the early bird, and that early bird is by September 14th. So thank you for offering that plug there, Coach Lee. And
Oh
if you
yeah.
want to check out, yeah, please feel free to click my link tree, and there'll be information about it there.
Yeah, go to the link tree, learn more information about this. It's going to change your life, because when you're in a retreat, when you're away from everything, and I talk about this in my coaching too, you cannot heal in a place where you were harmed or
Yep.
where you do not have clarity. You got to go somewhere else and be with people who are going to support you on this journey. And what better way to do that than be in a retreat, away from everything, intentionally working on yourself, intentionally working on yourself. So go click the link, go check out his link tree. It's Linktree DRDHRUBEE. If you're not seeing it on the screen, we're going to have a recording for this too as well. So Dr. Drhu, I'm very excited about you being in the summit. I know my audience here is going to love listening to you and hearing more about what you have to say. And if you want to get a coaching session with him, he's in high demand. So you need to get your early bird VIP ticket now, so that you can get, because you can only get one coaching session per day. There's 2 days. You can get one coaching session per summit, period. One summit. So if he's first come, first serve, he gets booked up before you get to him. Hey, you were the one in control. All right. You were the one in control. So Dr. Drhu, I want to thank you again.
My pleasure.
Everyone, I'll see you at